Okay, so we're now recording, and it is Brianna and I, and we are doing customer relations um, management. So, Brianna, the first thing I want to go through here is I know you've seen all this already. I made a couple of changes. Let me share screen right here. All right, so you can see that. Did you get onto the class okay?
No, I don't think it'll.
Muted.
No, I'm not. I don't think it'll let me be on Canvas on more than one device. Because
I'm
I
sorry,
tried
say-
logging on to my phone and it wasn't working.
Okay, and you can't load it onto your other
I
device?
tried logging on to Canvas on my phone so I could. No, it won't let me be on two devices at the same time.
Gotcha. Okay, so, well, you've seen this, I know you've seen this before, but this is the class here. Some of the things I'm going through, I have a hybrid class Mondays at 9 a.m. that lasts till noon. Now, here's the thing on that. Teresa, who is actually in your online class, doesn't join this online class. She just shows up on Mondays for the hybrid class. So if you ever have, if you have a Monday from 9 till noon that you want to come up and get help, that's a really good time. Also, if you need to do your own Zoom meeting or at a special time, or come do some tutoring, just get with me and we can figure out something that'll meet both our schedules. Okay. I try to
Okay.
make myself available as best as I can. Are you local? Do you live here in Tulsa?
No, I live about an hour away in Chelsea.
You live in Chelsea. Chelsea? Where is Chelsea at? I should know this.
It's a small
It's-
little town.
East of Claremore.
Yeah.
Oh, it's east. That's right. Because when we go to Missouri. Okay.
Mhm.
That's why
Yeah.
it sounded familiar. Well, I actually live about 45 minutes south of here. So I live in Okmulgee. So that's, I understand that if you can't get on campus and you just want to do a Zoom meeting at some point, let me know. Do you have good internet out there, or is that a struggle as well?
We have pretty good internet, yeah.
Okay. All right. So this class, I changed some of the class stuff around. Like when you pull up the home screen here, the book cover will be there. It's just some rando picture. Everything else has pretty much stayed the same. I do like I said, a 6 to 7 class. I put my big class first. And then I brought you guys in at 7:30 to 8:30. If you want to get a hold of me, the best way, you click on instructor information, or get back here, click on this picture. The best two ways here are usually email, and you can text me here as well. If you email me and I don't get back with you because I think the requirement is we're supposed to get back in touch with you guys within 24 hours of an email. I try to do it much quicker than that. But if there's something important that you want to put in an email and I don't get, and you don't think, you're going to get a response, you're not getting a response back as quick as you'd like, just shoot me a text right here at this number. You can either call me there as well. I use a Google Voice number. So, I don't get, when I taught at Oklahoma State, I gave out my real cell phone number at some point, and that became an issue. So now I use a separate number connected to my phone for that. And also you can always call my office phone and leave a voicemail. And that's the best way to get a hold of me. On the assignments, I'm trying to experiment out with this class, which is instead of making things due on Wednesday and Sunday, I make everything due on Sunday, so you have the entire week to work on it. That way you're not stressed out with a Wednesday deadline.
That's good. Yeah, I get stressed out a lot.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if that works, by the way. I mean, it may fall flat on its face because I'm trying it in both these classes, and I may figure out that it's not the right thing to do, but I figured I would try it. So we'll see how that works. What else here? Discussions. What is this? Am I in the right class or the wrong class? Oh, I pulled up business math, it looks like. I'm sorry. Let's go back. Let's go back here. Pulled up customer relations management. There we go. There it is. That's the class. All right. Also, you'll find on this as we go by the weeks, down below this will be I'll put a link to this video. So if you have any questions week per week, you can always go to the video. If you just missed something, you need to go back and look at it. Instructor information is the same. I've got a Facebook page dedicated wholly to Community Care College, so you can always friend me on that. If you message me on that, I may or may not see it. I've got, when it comes to Facebook accounts, I think my personal one is what pops up on my phone. Syllabus, curriculum, Facebook. So on our assignments here, see if I got it right this time. There we go. I always remind people the discussions can make or break your grade. I know it's worth 1/4, 25%, 1/4 of your grade. So basically what that means, and I explain it to everybody the same way, is if you show up to every class like you should and get your 10% and you do all your assignments perfectly, you're still only going to get a C if you don't do any of the discussions. So the discussions can bring your grade up to letter grades. If you're sitting at a C and then you go back and do those discussions, if you without the discussion, if you have a C, you do discussions, you can have an A. So and I make sure they're not that difficult. This one here. Now I broke, they're all due on Sunday, and they are, but if you remember discussions, you got to answer the questions and you have to do 2 peer replies. Okay. And I like to see the discussions at least 100 words long. Okay. And of course, on the peer, when you're replying to somebody else's on the peer post, good job. I like what you said, doesn't get it. We need something that moves the discussion. That's why it's called discussion. We move something that moves that discussion forward. If you agree, if you disagree, put some cogent answer together that helps move people along, and they may reply to yours. So it's a good thing. It helps move people along. Back here, so you got 10% for your attendance. You have 25% for discussions and 65% for your questions. There are 6 assignments per week. Some of these are a little heavy, some of them aren't. I always say give yourself plenty of time. Don't wait till the last minute, because I think in an email I always tell people procrastination you will suffer. If you got 2 assignments due at midnight and it's 10:30, you're just setting yourself up for failure, and that's not what we're here for. So I made everything due on Sunday, but don't wait till Sunday to start them, because you can only sit in front of your computer and read and do these assignments for so long until finally you burn out, or just decide to say the heck with it, and you go play your PlayStation or whatever, go play with the kids. I don't know the situation, so I'll just cover what I can. And that should cover you on that. I know you've been through this before, so do you have any questions or concerns with any of this to set up?
No, it all makes sense.
You weren't very convincing, Brianna.
I don't communicate well. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
My
Uh,
mom is laughing at me.
well, a mom would probably know better than I would, you know.
This is Brianna's mom. I've actually taken this course before with you. So
This particular course.
yeah, I have my associates with community care.
So this must, how long, it must have been about 4 or 5 years ago you took stuff with me?
Well, it's been 2018, I think. 2019.
Well, it wasn't me then.
Oh, it
I
wasn't?
think I left in 2018 and I just got back
Okay.
a couple of months ago. I went and started a directional drilling business with some friends,
Uh-huh.
and I sold out to them December of 2020. I sold my piece to them, and then I just got back here just a couple of months ago. So you might have
Oh.
had Bob or somebody, but yeah, same difference, you know.
Yeah. Your name just sounds familiar to me. Maybe it was 2017. I'm not sure, but I'll have to look at my diploma.
No, that's fine. That's fine. What was your name again?
Mine's April Lopez.
Boy, that name does sound familiar.
Yeah.
But you know, that's cool though. See, that's awesome. This class isn't really that bad. A lot of it's common sense. What I always tell people, Brianna, and you have to force yourself to do it, because when I was in school, I had to as well. Like chapter 1, you sit down and you just read over chapter 1. You don't have to memorize anything. You don't have to go crazy with it, but just read the material. So when you go back to answer the questions, your life becomes a lot easier. If you go trying to answer questions and read and pick it out of the book at the same time, it takes twice as long. You get frustrated. It's just reading over the material one time so you have a good idea what you're talking about and where the material is at. Oh, I saw that. That was 3 or 4 pages ago. And I did this, like, you know, we're going to flip actual physical pages, but you know what I mean.
And
It makes life a lot easier. It just does.
Yeah.
you can highlight things. It seems like it might be important. You can highlight it on there.
Highlighting is wonderful. You know, I'm an old guy, so you know, all the school I did was with physical books and highlighters and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But so you're going to have 6 assignments per week for the next 4 weeks. Some of them are pretty easy though. We're going to go over the first assignment before we leave here. So if you take notes or whatever, your first your first assignment will be done, or you just have to go do it
Okay.
after this class is over. So that I figured kind of give everybody a boost if I can, just kind of a kickstart to make everybody feel good about the first week, and maybe they'll forgive me my my technical difficulties this time around. I tell you, April, it was terrible. It was terrible. I had a rough one this weekend. So there we go. Fighting with my internet provider. They cut, you know, because your internet goes out. The first thing I asked my wife is, did we pay the bill? Well, yes, of course we paid the bill. She just paid it. And they give me this excuse or that excuse. And the last excuse they gave me was, let me see if I remember, because I pride myself on being at least a little bit technical, but this is way over my head. Too much port forwarding. So it locked down my router, and they're going to have a tech come in on Wednesday and unlock my router for me and restore my service.
Oh, no.
The only thing I can think of it would cost something like that is my wife, she works for Oklahoma State. And so she signs on to a VPN to get into her stuff for work when she works from home. And although that had been a problem before, maybe something changed and they locked us out. The weird thing, it just locked us out of our Wi-Fi though. If we plug in with an Ethernet cable, it works. I just don't have, 50 foot of Ethernet to run from the router to my office at home. So I'm sitting here at work in my actual office doing this. So and, you know, show off all my nerd stuff. Oh, let me see if I show off my nerd stuff here. Yep, I got Yoda. There you go.
Yoda.
No, that's real Yoda. That is the real deal there. And he's electronic, and he runs around and swings his lightsaber and runs around the floor if you turn him on. Okay, so we've got all that, 10%, 25%, 35%. You can, if you go to modules here, this is where you can get into Cengage. And that should take you there. And you can get to everything else you need here. You're going to have your flashcards, your study aids, and everything else here, as well as your assignments under the modules. Assignments is just assignments. And then, of course, you can go to your grades and everything else. That's it. And this class isn't too heavy. Now, one of the things I always that I'm do here is, and there's a link to this. Let me go back. Where it says 21 tips for online courses. I like to go over this the first time. I just take a couple of minutes to do it. I'm not always a fan of these, you know, self-help articles, but this one's pretty good. It's very popular. It's pretty good. And some of the ones I like to go over, you know, we'll set a major goal. Yeah, that's fine. Treat studying like a and I always use the example, my friend Clint, I graduated high school with him. He's a captain in the Fort Worth Fire Department now. And he didn't join fire department until probably 10 years after we graduated high school. So he didn't join right out. And on his day, when he was looking to get a promotion, you know, and then you have to test for each one, he treated studying like a job. That was his job that day, you know, because they worked 24 on, 48 off. So, you know, on those days, he treated it like a job, and he studied and he moved up in the ranks. And doggone, captains in the Fort Worth Fire Department make pretty good money. Those guys make six figures. And and part of it is he just did this thing right here. And they kind of, and all these kind of tie in together. Make a study plan, manage your time carefully. Don't expect to sit down for 8 hours and study and do homework. That's a good way to burn out. You have to set back out blocks of time, an hour here, an hour there, put breaks in between. You know, if you say, I'm going to spend 3 hours today studying, then, you know, break it up into 45-minute hour increments. Hold yourself to those study blocks, but then hold yourself to those blocks, your break blocks as well. Okay, there's no, it's just you can't hold your concentration for that long. You'll just suffer for it. So dedicated study blocks, quiet space, eliminating distractions, including social media. Where I know most of us are guilty, but I even do it here at work. If I'm not really into what I'm doing, or I'll let myself be distracted by my phone or whatever the other thing is, social media. I don't know if it's Facebook or, you know, Twitter or whatever, or TikTok. TikTok's just a huge time burner. And sometimes you'd rather,
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Yeah, I'd rather sit there and watch YouTube shorts than actually do any work sometimes. So you look over here, where's that? I set my phone right here and to charge, and I just leave it. And if I need to text my wife, if it's not important, text my wife or my daughter or my son or my grandson or whatever I need to do, I just wait. I kind of force myself into that box. This is the place I live. For the next 45 minutes, I'm going to work, and then I'm going to take a 10-minute break and do the texting and whatever else I need to do. The texting. That wasn't old manish at all. Like going to the Walmart. Online resources, always great. Break down tasks. You know, I don't know if you know the old saying, how you eat an elephant one bite at a time. You can't swallow it whole. And that's why I say, you know, you have your study blocks, you have your break blocks. And sometimes I make mine task specific, maybe not time specific. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna input all the grades for this week. That's the thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go and get something to drink and walk around, the building here and stretch my legs and come back and then do the next thing. Okay. You can't do it all at one time. And for a lot of people, and I think Brianna, you said you get a little stressed.
Yeah,
You get overwhelmed because it seems like there's so much to do.
yeah,
There is so much to do, and it's easy to get overwhelmed. But the thing is, you just do one piece of it at a time. You don't have to jump in and kill yourself on it. You got to realize there is a deadline. And so you set yourself up a believable time schedule, something you can work with, and break it up into smaller parts. So at 10:30 on Sunday night, you don't have 3 assignments due and feel like you're just overwhelmed with it. You've already covered that. And then by Saturday, you've already got all your assignments done, and then you get to, do whatever you want at that point. Start on the next week's or just forget about schoolwork for a couple of days, because both of those are viable options. Depending on what kind of week you've had, how things have went, sometimes getting a head start on next week is perfectly fine. And then sometimes just taking a couple of days and going, I'm not even thinking about school till Monday. I've got all my stuff caught up. I'm good. Right. And those are just, things that happen. That depends on your environment and how things are going on with you. And also necklaces. I don't know why there's be mentally engaged. That's the thing. And I kind of cover all these over and over, which is, if you find yourself in a position where you just can't concentrate, take a break, get up, get a water, soda, cup of coffee, get a snack, do something to kind of break up the monotony, get your mind freed up, and then come back and address it again. Because if you just can't be mentally engaged and you're just sitting there beating yourself up, that's not going to help either. You have to be disciplined, but you also have to know what your limitations are. Take notes. I always say, when I was going through my undergrad, I took college algebra, college trig, linear algebra, calculus 1, calculus 2, linear algebra, business calculus. And one of the things that I used to do is when I would take notes, when the class was over and I would get home or I'd get back to the library if I need to go study, or, we'd have a study group, I would take time. And the first thing I would do is I would recopy my notes. I'd write them in class. But when you're writing in class, you're not really comprehending. You're just trying to get it down on paper. I would go back and recopy the notes. And I don't think I ever had a math class I didn't have an A in. And that was one of the keys there, is recopying my notes. And the other thing was study groups. 3, 4, 5 heads are always better than one. And sometimes, even if you know what you're doing, the best way to get comfortable with the material and kind of make yourself really good at it is to teach it. That's one of the weird human things we have. Browse intelligently. So if you're going to online resources, stay away from your Facebook page for a while. Make studying enjoyable. Treat it like a job, but not a job you hate. Okay. Take breaks. I think we cover that. Stay healthy. Stress is not good for you. So cut out as much stress as you can, because we all know life by itself is stressful anyway. Try not to add to it if you don't have to. Connect with others. Join a study group. Ask questions. Look, you can ask me as many questions as you want. You are not going to bother me. And even if you are, I'll never tell you, and it's my job, right? So send me an email, shoot me a text. As soon as I can, I'll get back with you. But you can't ask too many questions. I'm here to make sure Brianna's successful, Brianna and all the other people. I'm not here to, this is a different environment than, like I said, I came up in with, you know, like when you go to Stillwater or Norman or some of these bigger schools. Number one, your professor didn't answer questions. They come in, they did their thing, they cover material. Even if they didn't, it was your responsibility to go for it. If you went to their office asking for help, they looked at you like you had three heads, and why are you there bothering them? Okay, that's not why we're here. We're here to make sure you're successful, and the only way to do that is communicate with me, ask questions. If you have issues, just get with me. We can work around just about anything. There are very few things we can't work around. Beat deadlines, I think I kind of covered that. And then it doesn't hurt to reward yourself. If you get something done, you feel like you hit a good stopping point. Hey, I got my thing done today. Go get the Oculus and play Beat Saber for a half hour, whatever your thing is. Okay. Go get ice cream. Do whatever it is that makes you happy. You know, it doesn't have to be huge. Just give yourself something that makes you feel good, that you said, hey, because people work better a lot of times with positive reinforcement, and you can positively reinforce yourself, and it works just as well. Okay, you don't have to wait for mom to buy you ice cream. And this is down there if you ever want to look at it. What time we got? We got about a half hour. Any questions or concerns on any of that, Brianna?
No, I like that though. 21 tips.
Hey, I'm always a big fan of stuff like that, but sometimes they come up with some stuff that just, all that is pretty much common sense stuff, but sometimes it helps for somebody to put it together for you and just present it to you, and so you can go, oh yeah, yes. This is how life should be. This is the way I should be doing things. You know, one of the things my kids, they used to get so upset with me, and I got to hear my daughter say to my grandson the other day, and it was, I laughed so hard I almost had to leave, which was, it's not what you know, it's what you do. And and so these are the things you know, but if you put them down in front of you and you work them like you're supposed to, you can make life easier. It doesn't have to be as bad as it could be, because most of our stress is self-inflicted. We put it on ourselves. So, all right. So on MindTap, the first assignment, chapter 1, what is customer relations and why should I care? We got 14 questions. We're going to go ahead and cover those tonight. That way you not get it done, start out on a positive note, and everything's good. So you ready for that?
Yes.
She's like, heck yeah, I'm ready for some free answers. You should have said that crap before. All right, so the first one, Charlie is a voracious reader. He finds it inconvenient to go to the bookstore every time he needs new books. To make things easier, he purchased an ebook reader. He is delighted with the new device, as it is a built-in dictionary and acts like a portable library with added options to store multiple books. In this given scenario, Charlie is in the blank stage of the basic consumption process. You'll see as you read on, there are steps in it. He's in the benefit process. Okay. He doesn't need it. He might want it, but he gets a real benefit. Now, me personally, I do use my tablet to read books, but I also love going to the bookstore. There's nothing like going to Barnes and Nobles and sitting in one of those big chairs and with your $7 coffee and flipping through some books and looking around. It's always had, you know, to be, that's one of those relaxing things. So
Yeah, I've always
benefit.
wanted to go there.
You've never been there?
No, I wish.
There is one on 71st Street, right across the street from the mall. Is it 71st? Yeah, 71st. Memorial
Seriously?
goes right, it's 71st. Do what?
Yes, yes, Brianna, there is.
I said seriously, I didn't know that. I need to explore more.
Oh,
Tulsa.
absolutely.
Huh.
Absolutely. It is a wonderful, beautiful place. It's like fairyland, except it exists. Okay, so Abraham conducts research on a new product. Geez, start over again. Abraham conducts research on how a new product captures the attention of consumers. His study concludes that the way a product is advertised has significant impact on buyers' perception of the product. If a buyer relates to an advertisement, the chances that a person may purchase the products are higher. In this scenario, which field of study did Abraham apply to consumer behavior? And that is cognitive psychology. If you've never heard of cognitive psychology before, I've got it pulled up on another screen just so we can have the exact definition. It is an area that focuses on the science of how people think.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's huge in marketing. All right, because I know everybody here, you've seen advertisement, and you know the meme of "shut up and take my money." You know, sometimes that's, you know, the advertisement's so good, and it's something you may have bought anyway if you've seen it, but they hit you where you just feel like you have to have it now. And so you know, and there are entire studies on how to market to people. Hundreds, thousands, millions. They've been doing it for decades. A new Chinese restaurant just opened a busy downtown location where many other restaurants and retailers are located. Because the restaurant has a lot of competition, the manager understands the I'm reading terribly, I apologize. You understand the importance of being market oriented. Which of the following demonstrates that the restaurant is market oriented? And one of them is the staff encourages customers to leave comments in the suggestion box. Okay, that may not be the best way to do it, but that is one of the steps. It's not cooks do not accept special dietary requests. That is not oriented. That's the exact opposite. Managers keep staff levels at the same during slow and peak business hours. Well, that's not either. You know, during peak business hours, you want as many people there as you can afford to have to handle the customer effectively. And you don't want waste in slow hours. You don't want to be shorthanded. We've all had jobs, I assume, where you've been shorthanded. If anybody's ever been in the restaurant business, which I spent my time there as well, when you're shorthanded, it's worse. You're making customers mad. Things aren't coming out right. You don't need that. And then the restaurant is open during lunch hours only. Well, that's not really convenient either. Tandem Inc., a nationwide retail chain, believes that every single purchase by a customer can lead to long-term relationships with that customer. In order to achieve this, Tandem introduces strategies to ensure that every customer interacts with the company as rewarding for the customer as rewarding as possible. After the successful implementation of these strategies, it generates higher revenue than its competitors, owing the increase to repeat customers. In this scenario, Tandem Inc. has employed the relationship market strategy to strengthen its performance in the market. Now, I was a operations manager for a oil company for 6 years, and that is exactly what we did, because it's very time consuming and expensive to get a customer. Okay. Once you get that customer in the door, you want them to come back. If you go to a place or you have somebody deliver something and it just doesn't, it's just not what it should be, and it's not a positive experience, you're not going to come back. You might give them one more chance down the road, maybe, if it presents itself, but that's not how it works. You know, you make your money off, you know, making people appreciate your business and wanting to come back more. And so, and that's how we did it, because we spent so much time and effort and money to grab that customer's attention. Once we have them, you don't want to just let them go to the next guy down the road. That is not what we want to do. It has cost too much time and money. Okay, so touch points. Once again, definition, a point of contact or interaction, especially between a business and its customers or consumers. The more touch points you can have with a customer, positive touch points, the better. So marketers always look to engage existing and potential customers with as many opportunities, connect, inform, persuade, and motivate buyer behavior. Ralph, a marketing manager at L'Oreal, is considering developing a marketing campaign that will provide targeted text, emails, direct social media messaging, and when appropriate, face-to-face communication. This relationship marketing approach is aimed to develop strong touch points for the potential customer. So you're getting them on multiple levels, especially a big company like L'Oreal, you're getting them on TV. Can you do it? If I've got your phone number, can I send you text messages that say, hey, this week, here's a coupon for 20% off of mascara, Now, that just helps keep the customers in. And these things cost time and money, so they have to be effective. Am I going too fast? Do I need to do anything different here?
No.
One-on-one is kind of hard to do. It's better with 5, 6, 10 people in class. I just left that to just being me and you. So D- Inc. is a company that manufactures smartphones. Aluminum frames and LCD displays are some of its in-house products. It purchases other materials like chipsets from dedicated suppliers. June, a sales manager, describes these materials used in the production of its smartphone that highlight their features. They are called attributes. Okay. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I don't want to beat that one up too hard unless you have any questions on it. Akeem designs customized automobiles for his clients. Now, here's where your repeat customers become difficult. When you're in the high-end marketplace and you're designing customized automobiles, people aren't going to go back. It's not shampoo. It's not whatever widget what you want to talk about. This is a big purchase, so he meets them to understand their unique requirements and creates models that fit their specifications. He has designed and sold hundreds of customized vehicles, each distinctive in its own way. In this scenario, which of the following marketing plan is Akeem using? And it's one-on-one marketing. Now, the cool thing about a business like that is, even though it may be months, years before somebody comes back to you, you do a really good job, they will come back to you. And even though customizing stuff like this could be labor intensive, it's also usually very lucrative, and because you're selling expensive items that they can't get anywhere else, they have a one of a kind, and that means something in certain markets. Psychedelic Trance is a firm that specializes in designing and marketing t-shirts for rock music fans. It advertises t-shirts during rock concerts and on popular rock music websites frequented by listeners. What kind of marketing is this firm practicing? That's niche marketing. They're not just selling graphic t-shirts to anybody and everybody. They found a very specific market, which they found me. They found a guy who listens to that kind of music and goes to concerts, and they advertise through, if you're watching the videos on YouTube or listening on Spotify, this is where they're going to get their people. And that's the same thing when I was the operation manager for the oil business. We dealt in one thing, which was lubrication products. We were one of the top 10 distributors in the United States, still a small company for ConocoPhillips at the time. We sold to people who used a lot of oil, big trucking companies and big construction companies, people who use a lot. And we didn't sell to dealerships. We didn't sell to onesie twosies and quarts and this and that. And we didn't sell quarts to the C store or anything else. We sold it you know, we did have some of those products, but our main focus was we were shipping out, you know, we would ship out 275 gallons of 15W40 oil to a construction company. And then along with it, 55 gallons of hydraulic oil, or 55 gallons of transmission fluid, or 55 gallons of this, or 5 gallons of that, or a couple of cases of grease. So we found our market was really narrow, but we were really successful in it. My last year there, we sold 1.5 million gallons of 15W40 diesel motor oil to these people, and most of it was in Oklahoma. So
Wow.
yeah, it was insane. It was insane. And so you can have a narrow market and still do very well. But we had to service our customer because it cost a lot of money to get that customer in. You got to pay a salesman. You got to call them the first time and tell them who you are. Then you got to go the second time. We got to find them. Then you got to call them, leave a card and tell them who you are and not be a nuisance. Come back a second time, discuss their needs. And then the third time you come back, you've put a piece of paper in their hand saying, all right, what you told me, here's the products we can offer you. Here's the pricing. Here's how our delivery works. Here's how we can help you. Here's some of our side products or services that we offer, which one of them would be oil analysis, where you would take, when you change oil, you would take some of the old oil and put it in a special container and ship it off to us, and we would put it through a machine and study, you know, what was left in that oil, what good and bad things were in that oil, and decide, you know, were you changing it long enough? Are your machines wearing out? Are you having certain problems? And so you had to sell this whole thing, and it didn't happen in 1 or 2 hours or days. I mean, it would take from the time you first met a customer, it might take 2 weeks or 2 months before they ever purchase from you. And so once you get in there, you want to stay in. You don't want Joe Blow coming in and undercutting you and taking your customer after you spend all that time. Jamala, a research visits the local supermarket to study and understand people's consumption patterns by observing their shopping carts. Jamala is using the blank approach to interpretive research. That's ethnographic. Once again, know your customer base. If I'm wanting to sell oil to big construction companies, I'm not going to sell the same oil you put in your, what kind of car you drive around? I'll just gonna ask.
Buick LeSabre.
Okay, well, the oil that goes in your Buick LeSabre is not the same oil that goes in their big trucks or their big machinery, right? So I have to know what I'm selling, and the same thing with a grocery store. The grocery store, if you go to a grocery store here in Tulsa, let's say, or even Claremore, it's not going to be the same stuff that you're going to sell in New York, or the same stuff you're going to sell in New Orleans or
Yeah.
in California. So you have to know, you know, what your demographic is, and that ethnographic is a way to do that. You know, you're not going to go to, I believe it's Michigan. I think it was like Dearborn, Michigan. I may have it wrong. They have a huge Muslim population. Okay, huge Muslim population. So you're not going to stock a whole lot of bacon and ham, or even gummy bears, which is made from pork byproducts. Okay, but if you come down to Okmulgee, where I live, you can sell bacon all day. People love their bacon. Okay,
We love
So-
bacon.
I'm all about the bacon. So you know, you just have to know, and a lot of it's geographic, a lot of it's cultural, social, you know, and it could change from place to place. You know, you go to San Francisco, to Chinatown, the grocery store is going to be different than in the other side of San Francisco, right? You just got to know what the people there are buying. And you want to service that if you want to become successful. Managers at Walmart want to better understand how social media campaigns, including discounts, impact consumer behavior for energy drink brands. They view monthly sales results and inventory records relating to the purchase of energy drinks. This is an example of quantitative research. Now, just quickly, you're going to have qualitative and quantitative. And once again, I always blow on the other screen so I get it exactly right, which is quantitative data is number-based, accountable, or measurable. Qualitative data is interpretation-based, descriptive, and relating to language. Quantitative data tells us how many, how much, or how often in calculations. Qualitative data can be used to understand why, how, or what happened behind certain behaviors. So just so you know, quantitative, you can put a number to it. Okay, it's a bean counting thing. So when you do that kind of research, you're looking at how much, when, how often, you know, price points, things of that nature. Now, as opposed to what we're going to talk about here in a minute, which is qualitative research, which is, you know, how do you feel? How does it affect people? How the state of mind, you know, the color, the shape, all those things that may or may not make your product more attractive to somebody, but you can't put a number on it. Like, you know, number 5, you can't say, well, it's a 5. Well, no. And we're gonna get out here in a minute. Celia, a brand manager shampoo, hires a market research firm to capture insight and opinion from consumers about new package designs and the use of new celebrity endorser. This is an example of, and they do qualitative and quantitative research, because one without the other is usually incomplete. You have to have the numbers down, but you also have to have those intangible things that attract people to you. Okay, so a lot of it is, you know, what is their need based on numbers, but, you know, how can you make them feel as well? Because a lot of people will shut up and take my money, right? A lot of people will buy off feeling. And I think a lot of that is, and one of the things, I know it's an unfair, I don't know if it's unfair comparison, but I always use women's shoes. My gosh, women, why would you guys wear some of that? Okay, you know they're uncomfortable, but they make you feel a certain way, right? They show off
Actually,
your face. Go ahead.
I actually don't wear like shoes like that. I buy like Nikes and stuff like that.
Well, you and I are friends, but you know, my wife is one of them. You know, that she wants to at that day she wants to wear these heels that show off her freshly painted toes, or make her calves look better as she wears this skirt. I mean, and then when she gets home, she can't rip those things off fast enough because, gosh, they hurt. And that is one of those things that just you've got to add into, you know, when you're doing your market research and you're doing these customer relation stuff. It's not always about comfort. Sometimes it's about how you make people feel. Let's see. Burger Cell Inc., a famous chain of restaurants in the United States, Canada, and Australia, is planning to open outlets in India. Okay, so first thing I notice is their burger place, and they're going to open in India. Well, we know they don't like eating cows in India. That's not their thing. So if you're going to open a burger joint in India, you're going to have to do something to make it attractive to the Indian people. According to marketing team survey, a large part of the population in India does not eat meat. Okay. Which of the following measures should Burger Cell incorporate to increase its chances of success in India? Stick to its current business model as it proved to be a successful model. Well, it may prove being successful in places like the United States and Australia, where meat is an entire culture, but not there. Advertise aggressively? No, because you're still not giving them what they want. Keep its menu consistent, what customers across countries have come to expect from it. Once again, people in Australia are not going to eat the same thing as people in India, and they're not going to eat the same thing as people in Taiwan or people in New Zealand. Everything is different. So if you're going to become successful, you have to know your market and your area and your people. So of course, and this is a pretty easy one, which is include more vegetarian options in their menu, remove others which may not be popular to India. That'll work 100% in India, right? Now you can't do that in Chelsea, right?
Yeah.
And I assume that there may be a few vegetarians in Chelsea, but they're not the majority.
No.
No.
No, it's Oklahoma too. Yeah. You know what we call a vegetarian in Oklahoma? Californian. Early Bird Inc. is an online retail store. It uses statistical tools that discover patterns and data to help customers shop efficiently. It decreases their online shopping time by showing them products brought by customers with similar buying patterns. In this scenario, Early Bird Inc. is using predictive analytics. And you notice that, I assume, Brianna, you do shop on Amazon, right?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay. When you pull up something, you put it in your cart, or you're looking at something, a product on Amazon, if you scroll down, they also say customers who bought this also bought the following things with this, right? And
Yes.
yeah, and that's their predict. Hey, you bought a new computer, but hey, people also bought a new monitor and a new keyboard and a new mouse or whatever. Okay, that's kind of what they're doing. It's suggestive selling. It's educated suggestive selling, not just, hey, you bought a computer, would you also like some glow sticks? No, it's, we know from a trend that the people who bought this also like these other items, so we're going to put these in front of you, knowing that there's a certain percentage of people who are going to go, oh crap, yeah, I'm glad they showed me that because I need a new mouse.
Yeah.
And last question, and we will be done. And you don't have to listen to me for another week. Big box stores such as Walmart, Target are competing for business with Amazon, Alibaba. Have you ever been to the Alibaba website? If you ever get a chance to check that out,
No.
they sell these amazingly cheap products in huge. They sell things that you could get around here, but they sell them super cheap. You usually just have to wait for them to come over on the ship. I looked at it when it was
What's
in the
it called?
direction of Alibaba, Alibaba. One of the things was like heavy equipment. When we were in the drilling business, I actually looked at Alibaba because I could spend $300,000 on this great big giant horizontal drilling rig that if I bought a name brand here, it would cost me over $1 million. Now, the downside is you got to wait 12, 15 weeks for it. And there's no distributor here in America because it's probably coming from China and it's kind of a knockoff. But you would buy one, it would come with these two great big crates full of spare parts. And like I said, it'd sometimes be 1/3 the price of here. So, and in the kind of business we were in, $300,000, of course, is a lot of money for anybody. But we could use that thing on one big job and it would pay for itself. Where it may take 3, 4, or 5 jobs for $1 million piece of equipment to pay for itself. So that was one of the things we actually looked at. And so anyway, sorry, I got sidetracked. So Target is competing with businesses with Amazon, Alibaba, and many other online firms, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. Organizations are trying to identify and understand buyer behavior for a variety of segments to address how to motivate, influence, and users to either their retail stores or online site. To do this, they will use internal customer records, survey responses, and web traffic records, as well as social media interactions. And this is all represented big data. I don't know if you've heard of metadata before, but everybody's gathering up your data, selling it to each other to try to figure out how to sell to you more effectively. And that's what that is. So, all right, so that's our first assignment out of the way.
Well, thank you.
And I'll do what I can. Do you have any questions, concerns, or anything else?
No, sure.
Okay, if you have any issues, and just get a hold of me. Like I said, shoot me an email. Email I check pretty regularly, but if I don't get with you and it's kind of an emergency, shoot me a text saying, hey, I sent you an email. I need you to address this as soon as possible, and I will do my best to do that for you.
Thank
And
you.
I'm here to make sure you're successful. And tell your mom, if she's not there, tell her I said hi, and I appreciate you guys. And if we're done, I will talk to you next week or sometime during the week if you need my help.
Okay, have a good night.
You too. Night.